Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, February the 10th, 2021. It is currently 10:10 a.m. Central Time, and I'm here live at Victory Baptist Church. It is Wednesday. Yes, there are a lot of things I want to accomplish today. I'm not going to be able to get most of them accomplished because if you heard in my last live broadcast, for some unknown reason, I forgot to pack my iPad that has all of my notes, everything that I wanted to do today. And so I am here trying to put together some live broadcast to the best of my ability without all of my information, but hopefully to do so, I want to produce something that I think will be beneficial, challenging. I did a little Bible study exercise for everyone in the first live broadcast. And in this one, sadly, I have to talk about a subject that I don't want to talk about, but it feels that I need to talk about it every single day because it appears that within the Christian world, we've lost a very basic concept. All right. So I have to restate this concept almost like that there are those within the Christian world that can no longer be treated as adults. They have to be treated as children. I feel I have some understanding of how Paul felt when he told the church at Corinth that, hey, you're like children. I can't even give you the meat of God's word because you are still children. You're divided, you're fighting, and all the things that were going on in the church at Corinth. And sometimes I feel exactly how Paul felt because you would think that Christians today, that grown Christians that are adults physically would be able to remember some of the very basic concepts of Christianity. Let me read from 1 Corinthians chapter 3. 1 Corinthians chapter 3. Paul writing to the church at Corinth. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 1. And I, brethren, could not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal, even as unto babes in Christ. I have fed you with milk and not with meat, for hitherto you were not able to bear it, neither yet now are ye able. Hey, I have to speak to you as if you're carnal. I have to speak to you as if you are a babe. I can't even give you the meat of God's word because you're acting like children. Well, when Christians and I will speak of Christians in the United States of America, when Christians in America seem absolutely incapable of putting into practice very basic concepts like this. Do not bear false witness. Speak the truth. Put away lying. God hates lying lips. We should not want to lie. We should not want to deceive. We should want to speak the truth. We do not want to bear false witness against anyone. These are basic concepts that we teach little kids in Sunday school about. Do not lie, don't lie, don't lie, speak the truth. And then for some reason, while the kids are learning that in the nursery, right? Hey, now listen, kids, we don't lie. Is lying bad? Yes. Okay, what does it mean to lie? All right, we're teaching the kids that in Sunday school. They're in the nursery, they're teaching that. While the adults sitting in the pew and the main sanctuary, for some weird reason, I guess they don't think those lessons apply. The lessons are only for the Sunday school classroom for children, for the nursery. But those truths are not to have any impact on the people sitting in the pew, because the people sitting in the pew go out and get on social media and post lie after lie after lie, conspiracy theory, fraudulent information that's proven to be false over and over and over and over and over again. And when you confront them, they do not apologize. They do not repent. They just move on to their next conspiracy theory, their next lie. If American Christianity can't even get the basic scriptural teaching on do not bear false witness and do not lie, if we cannot even get that, then what hope is there? Now listen, we can't tell the truth and we don't follow the Bible when it comes to truth, but we want you to listen to us when we tell you about sexuality and about homosexuality and about transgenderism. We want you to listen to us when we tell you about that. Now we can't be bothered to speak the truth We can't be bothered to deal with truth, but we want you to listen to us when we talk about controversial issues like sexuality. We want you to listen to us. Why would the world listen to us when they're like, all you guys do is lie and you can never get your facts straight? Why would they listen to us? Why would they want to listen to us when we try to explain the doctrine of the Trinity or explain the doctrine of salvation? Why? You can't get basic facts right. You lie and you lie and you lie over and over again. And I have reached a point that I cannot take it anymore. I cannot deal with it anymore. And over and over and over, where I get frustrated is hearing, usually it's on Christian radio, but sometimes Christian podcast. It can be from a number of sources. Christians just dealing with basic facts and they misrepresent them or they just completely give a false narrative. We have seen this during the entire COVID pandemic, over and over and over. Christian radio, pastors misrepresenting statistics, implying some sinister plot. They don't prove it. They can't prove it, but they know, oh, that number is false and that number is false. Well, prove it. If you've got the evidence that the numbers are false, by all means, go on the news and tell everyone, here's my proof. But see, you don't have to prove anything. You just throw out your accusations. You throw out your false claims because, hey, that's what Christians do, right? We don't traffic in truth. We traffic in lies and conspiracy theories. And then when someone is confronted, I don't care if you call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't care because there are conspiracies. The existence of conspiracies doesn't mean that what you just said is true. If what you just said is false, you violated basic biblical morality. Why isn't truth, speaking the truth and put away lying and not bearing false witness, why is that no longer a standard of morality that Christians even care about? You did that, so now you're bad, and you should be finished for the rest of your Christian life. But I can say all the lies I want, and that's perfectly okay. See, lying no longer matters within Christianity. Now, I know when I say that, you're going to say, well, not all Christianity. I understand that. I'm speaking in general. But lie after lie from the Christian side of the aisle, from professing Christians when it comes to COVID. I can't even tell you how many times we've played clip after clip where it's just verifiably false information, or at very least, it's not verifiable information. And if you're look, why wouldn't Christian radio be the place that during the pandemic, they would say, hey, we're going to change our entire programming. We're going to give people hourly updates about COVID, the best information we can, trying to guide people to make the best decisions so that people can tune into Christian radio to get facts, to get information, so that we can help protect them, we can protect ourselves, that we can show love for our neighbor. Why wouldn't Christian radio have gone into that mode of thinking? And then the rest of the time say, we're going to do everything we can to feed you spiritually. Whatever is happening in your church because of the pandemic, if you can't go here, if you can't go there, we're going to be here around the clock, 24/7, giving you Bible reading, devotional thoughts. We're going to feed you spiritually. Why wouldn't Christian radio have gone into like a whole different way of thinking? But they didn't do that. They turned into, it's all a lie, it's all a lie, it's a hoax, it's all a lie, it's all a lie, it's all a lie. And we played many of those clips. So we saw it with COVID. Then when we get to the election, what did we see? Oh, the election was stolen. The election was stolen. It was the Smartmatic software. And then guess what we have? Right now, Smartmatic is suing people for billions of dollars, saying, hey, you made these claims. These claims are absolutely false. Our software was only used in LA County and not in all of these other states you're accusing us of being in. We're going to sue you. Now, they're going after the big people like Fox News. I wish they would go after some Christian radio networks who spewed forth the same lie. But here's what's shocking. I don't expect Fox News to speak the truth, but you would think Christian radio would speak the truth. That Christian radio would be like, wait a minute, before we make any accusation against Smartmatic and their software as being responsible for flipping the election, before we make such claims, we're going to verify, because we're not here to support Trump. We're here to speak truth. We're not here to promote a political party. We're here to promote the gospel of Jesus Christ. But Christian radio lost its mind, and they made these lies. Have they come back to apologize? Have they removed those programs from their podcast? In most cases, there may be some cases where they have, but I haven't seen any yet. But for everything I've seen, they haven't repented, they haven't recanted, they haven't published a retraction, and those podcast episodes are still available on their Christian radio station websites and on podcast platforms. Lies. I mean, just basic information they got wrong. Basic information. Why? Because they had a different agenda. Truth was no longer an agenda, wasn't. And now we all know what occurred. I don't have my iPad here, but so I'm gonna use my laptop here. We know about the storming of the United States Capitol. The storming of the United States Capitol was a riot and a violent attack against the 117th United States Congress at the U.S. Capitol on January the 6th, 2021, part of the 2020-2021 U.S. election protest. It was carried out by a mob of supporters of Donald Trump, the 45th U.S. president, and a failed attempt to overturn his defeat in the 2020 presidential election. The Capitol was placed under lockdown while lawmakers were evacuated. 5 people died from the event, while dozens more were injured. That's the basic facts of we know what happens, right? We know what occurred. That's the basic facts. The basic facts of what occurred was reported right there. That's the basic idea, but not according to some Christians. That's not an accurate description of what happened. It wasn't a mob of Donald Trump supporters. No. Of course not. It was something else. We got to call into question this narrative. Now listen, if you got facts to call in that narrative into question, and you've got information that proves that it wasn't Donald Trump supporters, and the people that are being arrested were not Donald Trump supporters, and that all of their social media accounts that people have gone through and say, look at all of the things they said about Donald Trump, that they fabricated all of that because they were actually a part of other groups, and you've got that proof, well, then you need to be reporting that to the FBI, because those other groups that could have been responsible, they need to be held responsible, and justice needs to be done. But if you don't have any facts and you don't have any information, and all you have is secondhand information and claims made by anonymous sources, then maybe you should be very careful reporting it on Christian radio. But do you think that stops Christian radio? Of course not. Because guess what Christian radio doesn't care about? They don't care about the truth. They care about their political agenda. That is the problem. I am so tired of getting emails from people who get upset at me every time I say anything like this. They're like, you don't care about Donald Trump, and you don't care about politics, and you don't care about abortion. I care about truth, and you should care about truth. We don't sacrifice truth. We don't sacrifice basic biblical morality because of your political ideology. You don't take truth out back and shoot it 3 times simply to support your political agenda. God hates lying. God tells you to put away lying and speak the truth. God tells you do not bear false witness. That means you don't bear false witness even against your political enemies. That's basic Bible morality. And we've become so childish in our spirituality in the American church that we don't even care about that basic concept. No, we just let the lies and the innuendos and the false accusations and the claims just spew forth out of our mouth. And we've documented it time and time again here on this program. Throughout 2020, Christian radio would make some claim. I would go play the clip and then come back in here and say, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. And then people would get mad. Usually when the people got mad, did they send me any information to verify that what I was saying was not? No, they would just send me something from a QAnon conspiracy theory website. Here's our proof. Here's our proof. People send me information about vaccines, which I 30 minutes of research, absolutely fraudulent, absolutely not true, absolutely wrong. But it doesn't matter. No matter how many times you confront them with truth, then they claim the truth you present is actually lies because that truth is really a part of the conspiracy. And it's just a never-ending circle of madness. And Christians have got to stop this. You are called by God to speak truth. How many different ways can I say it? What do I have to do? Not lies, not misinformation. That's not what you traffic in. Because if we look, at some point, we're going to be viewed by the world as the people you cannot trust. And if we can't be trusted to get basic facts right, if we can't be trusted with the basic biblical morality of speaking the truth. Now, we all make mistakes. I'm not talking about making mistakes. But even when we make mistakes, we say, hey, you know what? I stated that was incorrect. I made a mistake. No, that's fine. We correct it. We all do that. Everyone has to do that. The news media has to post retractions. I've got no problem with realizing when we didn't get that completely right and fixing it. But the point is you cannot then turn around and then go speak more lies. You've got to verify and ensure that your information is correct. So there's my basic concern is this idea of truth. So yesterday, I'm sitting in front of the hospital in my car, waiting for my wife to be brought out after her surgical procedure. And guess what I do? I turn on American Family Radio. And they're going to be talking, and they're talking in February, they're still talking about the Capitol riots. And they've got a new narrative. The Capitol riots wasn't Trump supporters. Antifa, Black Lives Matter. That's who did it. Not Trump supporters. No. Not Trump supporters. Now, of course, every time you see one of these individuals get arrested who are all over social media for bragging about the fact that they invaded the Capitol building, when you go look through their social media feeds, what do you find? Trump supporter, QAnon conspiracy theory supporter, QAnon, Trump. Oh, yeah, a lot of times throw in Christianity in the midst of it, which just, again, is a problem over and over and over. My daughter, two people that she knew on social media, not like personal friends, but knew on social media friends, posted, and these were massive Trump supporters, posted videos of themselves and breaking into the Capitol. And my daughter contacted the FBI and reported them because that was horrific. What happened at the Capitol building was wrong, and all Christians should condemn it. But I keep hearing Christians saying, well, it was wrong, but look what happened here. Oh, but look what Black Lives Matter did. But look what Antifa did. Oh, but look what happened in Portland. Oh, look what happened here. Look what happened here. Look what happened here. How come you can't just say what happened at the Capitol building was wrong? People died. And what led to that was the spreading of a lie that the election was stolen and they needed to do what they can. They needed to do their patriotic duty to fight back. Well, first you got to prove that it was stolen. But if you promote a conspiracy theory that then enrages a mob to go in, break into the Capitol building to try to stop the democratic process that was in place and the democratic process that was in action at that time, trying to overthrow that and stop that through violence, you cannot condemn that? People died. Now you can stop and go, but, no buts. Condemn it. That was wrong. And again, what led to it was lies. That's what I want you to hear. It was lies. It was misinformation. Smartmatic, the software used by these Dominion computer systems, it turned the votes. It changed the votes. And then you get, we did it on Sunday. I did it in over an hour. The owner of the company, a Smartmatic, hey, was your software used in this state? No. Was your software used in this state? No. Was your software used in this state? Outside of LA County, it wasn't used. Well, then why are you being blamed for it? Because they made up the story. No, I don't care if Republicans make up the story. I don't care if Fox News makes up the story. I don't care if Newsmax makes up the story. I care when the body of Jesus Christ, the bride of Christ, is out there making up the stories and spreading the lies. Because, you are then calling into question. You are hurting the character of Christ. You are bringing, you're basically hurting the name of Christ. You're disrespecting the name of Christ because you're not living in accordance with it. Now, we all fall short of that. I know that. We all sin all the time, not calling for perfection. I'm calling for we strive to be holy. We're never going to be perfect, but we strive to be holy. And then when we mess up, we have to deal with the consequences. But for crying out loud, we can't, even lost people can maintain a morality where, hey, you know what? I'm going to be very careful what I say. I'm not going to try to speak anything that's false. I'm not going to spread false information. Even lost people can figure that much morality out. And the bride of Christ can't? The bride of Christ can't? It's almost like, this is almost like the ends, there's almost this thinking within some parts of Christianity that the ends justify the means. If we can tell lies and spread false information, but it helps us win politically, then it's okay. And if you don't see how utterly unbiblical that is, I don't even know what to say. But I'm growing very tired of the same thing. Like I could spend 3 hours a day just going through Christian media or sermons going, see that information? Wrong. That information? Wrong. That information? Wrong. That information? Wrong. And I've had to deal with it. I feel like I've had to deal with it my whole Christian life. I've told the story before. Let me tell it again. Moved here to Texas, trying to find a church. I went to a church not too far from where I'm sitting. It's about, 6 miles, 5 miles maybe from where I'm sitting. And we walked into the church on a Sunday night. The pastor preached. It was an okay sermon. And then at the end of the sermon, he's like, hey, guys, or hey, brothers and sisters, hey, everyone. I have some very important news to report. A famous atheist is working right now. She is working right now to get all Christian television removed from the airwaves. Our Christian liberty is under attack. Christian freedom is under attack. She is going to get Christian television banned from the airwaves. I ask you, brothers and sisters, to come up here tonight before you leave this church. Right up here on the altar is a petition. We're going to send this petition to the U.S. government to stop them from closing down Christian television networks. And I sat there and I looked over at my wife, was like, this can't be happening. This cannot be happening in a church. That whole story is fraudulent. The woman that he just named, this famous atheist, she's dead. There's no way she could be doing it. This is a lie. This is a lie. And come to find out, it was a lie. It was fraudulent. It was a hoax. And the pastor was sitting there promoting this from the pulpit. He bought into it. That's what I'm talking about. That kind of stuff cannot happen. I don't know how many times during the Obama administration, Christians making claims about Obamacare, making claims. And I remember sitting in the hospital with doctors during lunch in a conference room. We all brought lunch and we're sitting there eating lunch and we had every page of the Obamacare bill printed out. I don't even know. I think I went through, that thing had hundreds and hundreds of pages. And we were sitting there going through it. And we were highlighting this part and this part and this part. And I would say, well, I've heard people make this claim. And they're like, no, that's not what it says. No. And we went through and demonstrated that what many Christians were saying about Obamacare was flat out fraudulent and wrong. And again, Christians, I don't care what Rush Limbaugh was saying. I don't care what Fox News was saying. Christians. So I say all of that. And I feel like I'm just running around. I feel like a crazy person. I feel like a crazy person because I can't seem to get Christians to wake up. Now, of course, I know most of you listening, I know you share my same frustration. And you're probably saying you're preaching to the choir. I know I'm preaching to the choir in part, but please note, these broadcasts, they go everywhere. They're on YouTube. They're on every podcast platform on the face of the planet. I never know when someone's going to stumble across this. And maybe some Christian would go, man, he's got a point. I've shared some false information, and I need to speak the truth. I'm hoping I can wake someone up. But I want you to just hear this for yourself. I want you to hear this. Again, I heard this sitting right there, and right there at the exit where they bring people who've recovered from surgery out, right? And they bring them down in the wheelchair, and then they're to pick her up. So I'm sitting there waiting, and then I heard this. from American Family Radio. Here we go.
And welcome back, dear listeners, to today's issues here on American Family Radio. Ed Vitagliano sitting in for Tim Wildman today. I'm joined in studio by Walker Wildman, and in Studio Venus, Fred Jackson of American Family News. And in the frozen tundra of Kansas City, Dr. Ray Pritchard is joining us. And now we want to welcome, which typically on Tuesdays, we go Frank Turek before the break, Sandy Rios after the break. Our listeners love that 1-2 punch. Sandy Rios of Sandy Rios in the Morning, heard on American Family Radio Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. Central Time. Sandy, good morning.
Good morning, Ed. How are you?
I'm doing good. You kind of had a little bit of kind of New England there. I've parked my car out in the parking lot, and it's going to be.
I could do. How you doing? How you doing?
That's more New Jersey.
How you doing?
Yeah,
now, that's Chicago too.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
So yeah, it's I've been in the South. Married a Mississippi girl in 81. We moved to Mississippi from Arizona in 85. And I still can't get my phone when I do the dictation for texting to completely understand me. And so people down here think I have a Boston accent, and people up north, my family, think I have a Southern accent, so I'm a man without a region. But
man without an accent.
That's right. All right, Fred, what do we want to talk to Sandy about?
All right, we'll stop right here. So, all right, they have their little joking around, perfectly okay. I'm not here to make fun of any of that. And I do the same thing. I when you get ready to go into it, sometimes you like to just break that ice, get ready to go into your topic. Okay, fine. All right. But I just want you to hear, I don't want anyone to accuse me of taking anything out of context. So that's why I just start from the beginning and play all of this. So American Family Radio. Again, if this was Fox News, Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, many of I may listen and make comment about some of those things sometimes. My issue is this is Christian radio. That is the thing that has just baffled me for years, is how some Christian radio stations, they don't sound Christian. They've almost abandoned teaching scripture, preaching, doctrine, theology, church history, and and I understand that it's perfectly acceptable to have programs where you deal with covering the news. I understand that. But the Christian approach to news should be, here's what's being reported, here's what we know, and if we don't know, we don't know. No speculation, no fraudulent information, truth at all costs. That should be the Christian approach to news. Here's what's being reported. Here's what we know. Here's what's verifiable. Here's what's not verifiable. Here's where we think maybe it's misleading. But if you say you think it's misleading, you've got to have facts to back that up. Again, truth. That's all I'm asking for. Basic biblical morality of truth. All right, let's see what they want to talk to her about. Here we go.
Andy, I was intrigued. I know you dealt with this on your program this morning, and reading a document I think that you sent out last night, that more and more as the investigation continues into what happened on January 6th at the Capitol, we're starting to hear more and more, there were dribblings of this back several weeks ago, that some of the ringleaders in the riot on Capitol Hill had similarities in dress, in language, and techniques to Black Lives Matter Antifa people.
All right. So some of the people involved in the Capitol riots, see, more information is starting to come out, more information that they were similar in dress, similar in language, similar in tactics to Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Okay, now if you're going to say they're similar in their techniques and their tactics and their language and their dress, if you're going to make these claims, well, okay, here's the question. Just because they use similar techniques, tactics, or similar dress, Are you making the claim that they were a part of Black Lives Matter and Antifa? And if so, where is your proof? Because time and time again, the people who have been arrested, when you start, here's their name. Hey, look, everyone, here's their social media account. What do you find? Trump supporter, Trump supporter, Trump supporter, Trump supporter, Trump supporter, Trump supporter, Trump supporter. Are you saying that there was some grand conspiracy? And so what happened is Antifa and Black Lives Matter people got together and they're like, look, we got to take down Donald Trump. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go out and we're going to buy all kinds of Trump gear. We're going to buy Trump gear, American flags, and we're going to go and we're going to act like that we're Trump supporters. And then we're going to invade the Capitol building and we're going to give, we're going to say, stop the steal. And we're going to say all these chants, and then Trump supporters will be blamed. This is all a grand conspiracy. Now, Black Lives Matter, I know that a lot of our supporters are African Americans, so we need to get a lot of white supporters of Black Lives Matter. We need to get a lot of them, and because we can't all go in as African American, because that would probably look weird, because most of the people out here at Trump rallies typically white, but at least the majority of. So, and white evangelicals were the ones to support them. So we need some white people. Okay, we got some white people. All right, good. We got that. So we got we make sure we got to look the part now. We got to look the part. Oh, okay. Now before you go, what I need you to do is create social media accounts for each individual, and I need it to go back like a year, just showing Trump support, Trump support, Trump support, Trump support. If these individuals have anything online showing that they're connected to Black Lives Matter, Antifa, we need to delete that right now. Okay, we coordinated. We got this all worked out. All right, let's go. Let's take down democracy. Let's destroy this, because we all know that Trump won overwhelmingly. And thank goodness we use those computer systems. So it's a grand conspiracy. Now, if you just hop online right now onto Google and just do, any fact check websites. In fact, I'll just pull one up here right quick. Not just one website. I'll pull up many. If you just do a Google search for, did Antifa storm the Capitol? Fact check. There's article after article after article after article. In some cases, the claims made that, hey, look, CNN even reported it. You do a little research, realize the photograph that supposedly shows CNN reporting that Antifa did it was doctored and is fraudulent. Fact check after fact check website. I've got just right here, 1, 2, I don't even know how many, pages here. And there's articles here about how Republicans are creating false narratives and how they are giving unsubstantiated claims that Antifa did this. It says Trump privately blamed Antifa people for storming the U.S. Capitol. How Republicans are warping reality around the Capitol. I got all kinds of different sources here calling this into question. All right, but on American Family, and again, American Family Radio is going to say, hey, more and more evidence is coming out. More and more evidence is coming out. Okay, well, then let's see. If they got more and more evidence, make sure you understand this. American Family Radio has a website. American Family Radio could say, hey, go to this link. We've got all of the documented information right here proven. I cannot, here's what I do know. Like the people my daughter reported. Clearly she knew there were Trump supporters. Clearly she had seen their social media post. And clearly they had the video of them saying, look here, we're in the Capitol. Look. And she reported them to the FBI, which should have been done because everyone who broke into the Capitol building under false pretense that the election was stolen and they were going to try to overturn democracy needs to be held accountable. I don't care who they are. If they broke in, Black Lives Matter broke in pretending to be Trump supporters, they need to be exposed and they need to be found out. So if you have that information of individuals who did that, report it. Don't email me. Report it to the FBI. Report it to the media. Create your own YouTube page and show the video. You do it. You prove it. Now, if it's found out within 5.3 seconds that your video is fraudulent and you doctored it, well, then stop claiming to be a Christian. So here we go. And I have on my iPad, I had article after article that I was going to read through showing, hey, this claim is false. This claim is false. I don't have my iPad with me. So I pulled up Google really quick just to show you how quickly it is to call into question some of these claims. But you know what? You can't trust Google. You can't trust anyone. Who can you trust? You can trust American Family Radio, who lied to you over and over and over about the election, who gave fraudulent information about COVID, who has proven themselves to be liars. But hey, when it comes to this, you can trust them because they know. They're investigative journalists. They got to the bottom of it. This was Antifa. This was Black Lives Matter. It was a grand conspiracy to make Trump look bad. So even though we're in February, that's what they're going to dedicate their time on Christian radio to do, to go back and correct the narrative so that Trump supporters don't look bad, because this has nothing to do with Trump supporters, has nothing to do with Christian nationalism, has nothing to do with Trumpism. No. This is the bad people in Black Lives Matter and Antifa. They're responsible. Now, remember, if their information is not right, they just bore false witness, and they just lied. All right, let's continue.
Yes, I think, Fred, I think that is based on talking to people who were there. That's exactly, and plus I have read a lot of articles about it too.
Based on people who were there. Hey, I was there and I saw it. It was Antifa and it was Black Lives Matter. Okay, where's the video? I'm sure the people who were there had cell phones. Where's your video? And is your video verifiable? Is it proven? Is it just shown to be doctor? Post, look, American Family Radio, you have a website. Post the videos. Show me the proof. Take it to the FBI. Go on Fox News. Go on Newsmax. Now, Fox News may be a little hesitant if your information is not verifiable, considering they're right now being sued for over $2 billion for all the lies they said about the election being stolen. So they're a little worried right now about, who could come on there and tell their lies. I mean, they may be a little, so you better make sure your information is verifiable. Here's the thing, American Family Radio. Are you going to stand by this story if you're sued for $2 billion? Now, I got no problem asking questions. I got no problem saying, hey, this doesn't make sense. I got no problem. But again, the Christian standard is truth. So it's interesting. People who were there, right? Well, if I'm there, just think about this logically. Anyone who was at the Capitol building right now, who was at the Capitol building on January the 6th when the riot took place, you're viewed very negatively by society. I mean, you could possibly lose your job. There could be pressure against you. I mean, you're viewed as a really not such a good person because a riot took place and people died and the Capitol building was invaded. So you would have a motivation to say, no. It wasn't us Trump supporters. It was someone else. We were all set up. You would have motivation to do that. And I think it's very reasonable to be skeptical about the claim that, well, someone was there. And then she says, I read articles. Articles from whom? Who wrote the article? What's the source of the article? You have a link for the article? Right, let's continue.
But not in the mainstream.
No.
And I don't think the FBI is saying that. I think...
All right, so not the mainstream and not the FBI. So the FBI, I guess, is a part of the conspiracy. And of course, mainstream media is a part of the conspiracy. So that means, where am I going to get this information? I'm going to get this information from Susan's blog that she's writing from her basement because she knows. She knows. Now, Susan writing a blog from her basement, maybe she does know. I got no problem acknowledging that. Sometimes people can find the truth when mainstream media is overlooking it. But then get me the facts. But even the FBI now is covering it up. The FBI is covering it up. So you can't trust the FBI, can't trust the CIA, can't trust any. Who can you trust? You can trust American Family Radio, a bastion of truth and lies, that you've proven over and over and over again. So American Family Radio, I want you to come on, start publishing this stuff on your website. Have a whole section, Capitol riots framed, people responsible, Black Lives Matter, and Antifa. Come on, let's do this. Let's do this. If you've got it, Look, and if you can prove it, I'll stand right there with you and cheer you on. Look, if it was, I just know though that over and over and over, the people who have been arrested and their information is made public, what do we find out? QAnon conspiracy theory supporter, part of maybe a part of some right wing group, but you're like, all of it's false. All of it's false. This is all right. Let's just continue. Let's continue.
The article that came out yesterday that said that there's evidence now that this was pre-planned. When you get down in the weeds of it, it talks about oath keepers and primarily oath keepers and some of these other groups. The point of that article was that they have correspondence between them. They were planning to go to the Capitol, and they're.
So wait. The first article she names, an article that says that this was pre-planned, and I think that was on the Drudge Report yesterday, which, now that is significant, because if you say it was pre-planned, then you can make an argument that Trump's comments made on that day at that rally, you could then make an argument that he should not be held responsible because it was pre-planned. If you can prove that it was pre-planned, based off correspondence and those things, that could be helpful for his impeachment trial that is currently underway as I'm speaking, right? Okay, that's important. That's good that information come out. But please note, the article mentioned oath keepers and other groups. Well, wait. I'm waiting for the Antifa Black Lives Matter connection, right? Because she said articles. Now she names the article that it was pre-planned, and then she talks about correspondence among people. Oath keepers. Okay, that's not Antifa. That's not Black Lives Matter. So let's wait. I'm waiting for the smoking gun. I'm waiting for the smoking gun. All right, because I guess in this article, now she didn't name the article. She didn't name the publication. She didn't name the date. She didn't name the source. She didn't say that you can go to the American Family Radio website and find a link. She didn't provide anything yet. But let's see. We're waiting for the smoking gun, right? We're waiting for because hey, more and more information starting to come out that hey. This was Antifa and Black Lives Matter. That's the claim. That's the claim. Now, what's the standard for Christians? Truth. Honesty. Don't bear false witness. Don't bear false witness against Black Lives Matter. Don't bear false witness against Antifa. Even if you disagree with anything, even if they've done despicable things, you still don't bear false witness. So, okay, you made your claim. Now you got to back it up or you're going to be guilty of bearing false witness. So let's wait for this evidence. I'm waiting for this evidence. All right, here we go. It's got to be coming. It's got to be coming any second. And we're about to blow this open. We're about to do an exclusive. Next thing you know, Fox News is going to be contacting me going, wow, that's some good information. Can you come talk to us? Because we're going to expose this. Let's see how powerful this information is.
Their language is questionable. It's not saying we're going to kill anyone. It's more like the language of the patriots, that the patriots of the revolution who wanted to take back their government or.
All right, now, so remember, this is supposed to be Black Lives Matter and Antifa, but they got this article posted somewhere, about that this was pre-planned. And when you start looking at the correspondence between Oath Keepers and these other groups, I mean, some of the language is kind of troubling, but it really sounds like patriots who wanted to take back their government. Oh, so the good people there that were there, they just wanted to be there because they wanted to take back their government. They wanted to be patriots, like the Revolutionary War. So are you saying that it's right now for Christians to take up arms? I mean, American Family Radio's already made that claim. Remember, we reported on that. And I'm still trying to get more media to look into that broadcast where they said that Christians should take up arms in an offense, not just in a defensive way, but in an offensive way. So I'm still waiting, though. Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Remember, that was the claim. So now she's talking about language used among, I guess, patriots who just wanted to take back their country. Take back their country. Take back your country. You lost the election. If you wanted to take back your country, you should have won the election, unless now you're claiming that the election was fraudulent. Are you going to say it was Smartmatic? Because if you do, I'm sure the owner of that company, he's looking for more people to file lawsuits against. I bet you American Family Radio, if you want to be on that list, hey, go ahead and say it, and I'll send the audio clip to him as well and see if he can file a $2 billion lawsuit against American Family Radio. If you want to continue to play this little game, okay, look, you don't take a country back that you lost during an election. That's the way it works. The majority of the people vote, and clearly the majority of the people vote were tired of Donald Trump. That's why he lost the popular vote and the electoral college vote. No, I don't believe that. It was a fraud. Then don't email that to me. Go prove it to someone. The courts didn't listen. Go prove it. I'm so sick of this nonsense within Christianity. I expect it when I get in the car and turn on AM talk radio. I expect it. When I turn on Christian radio, I don't know, maybe something like Christianity? But no, Christianity. What? You want us to talk about Christ on Christian radio? Give me a break. We gotta convince everyone that this is a grand conspiracy. It wasn't Trump supporters. Oh, we got to do whatever we can. We got to make sure Trump still looks good. We got to get him reelected in 2024 or our whole country is destroyed and we're not going to be able to make it. And we're all going to end up in prison. All right, here we go.
But it's being construed. I don't know much about Oath Keepers, so I can't declaratively say anything about who they are, what they were trying to do. But those are the ones that were singled out in that article.
All right, I don't know much about Oath Keepers. You just came on the air to talk about this. You couldn't do 5 minutes of research about Oath Keepers? Are you trying to insinuate that Oath Keepers is a part of Antifa or Black Lives Matter? Remember that's how this whole thing started, right? Hey, evidence is coming out. Now she said there were articles, there's evidence, but so she can't really say much about Oath Keepers. All right, they said some language that may be troubling, but really it sounded like just patriots. Okay, again, I'm still waiting. We're waiting for that smoking gun, right? At any second, they're going to blow this wide open, and they're going to prove to everyone, Black Lives Matter and Antifa, they're the ones who did it. It wasn't Donald Trump. They weren't there. When they were in there saying that Donald Trump sent us, when they were in there saying that they were following Donald Trump, even many of the people arrested now were like, hey, we were just following Donald Trump. But hey, they don't mean it. All of these people are all this conspiracy just gets crazier and crazier. But we're waiting. We're waiting. I'm still trying to figure out where the smoking gun is, all right? So the article that she has articles, but the article she cites focuses on Oath Keepers. Right, but that's okay. Hey, this is Christian radio. You got to think. You can't follow basic rules of logic. It's Christian radio. Rules of logic doesn't apply. Sound reasoning doesn't apply. When we turn on Christian radio, we got to just throw all of those things out because that's probably a liberal conspiracy to get you to think a certain way. You don't want reason. You don't want logic. You want Christian thinking. All right. So we got to think. We got to think like Christians here. Okay. I don't know if I can do that. I'm going to try. Got to think like Christians here. Here we go.
But my information on Antifa and Black Lives Matter comes from other sources.
All right, so I don't know why she cited that article. I don't know why that article was even cited because that article had nothing to do with it. So her information about Antifa and Black Lives Matter comes from other sources. So she has articles, so she goes to an article that has nothing to do with what she's getting ready to claim, but she has other sources. All right, here we go. These other sources are going to prove it. I got a pencil here. Got a notebook. All right. I'm going to write down these other sources. All right. You ready? Let's write down these other sources. All right. Because we want this information, right? We want to be able to prove once and for all that this whole thing was a conspiracy, right? Like COVID was a conspiracy. The election was stolen. The Capitol riots were a conspiracy. Everything is a conspiracy. We have to start asking ourselves, what isn't a conspiracy? Okay. All right, here we go. All right, let's listen. Okay, you got your pencil? Okay, I got my pencil too. Here we go.
In fact, I have actually Mike Waller, who's formerly with the CIA, was there and observing the whole thing, and he wrote a very long article on it before any news came out about it. He wanted to write it down fresh while nothing else was influencing his mind. And he's got about 5 or 6 pages written, and he's going to join me tomorrow to talk about what he saw. He's very, very familiar with Antifa and all these Marxist militant groups.
All right, Mike Wallard. All right, let's do. I don't have my iPad, so I don't know how well this is going to work. Remember, I'm just putting this all together, not being able to do this the way I would normally operate. Okay, Mike Wallard. Mike Wallard. No, that's Willard. Okay, hang on. Sounds like she said Wallard. No, I'm not. Let's see. How about Ballard? I'm looking here. All right, let me back this up just a second. I want to make sure I may be not hearing the name correctly. Let me back this up. That's 3150. All right, I'm going to go back to 3137. All right, I'm going to back this up and then listen to this name again. I thought she said Waller. That's what I thought. All right, let's listen again.
Something else was influencing his mind, and he's got about 5 or 6 pages written, and he's going to join me tomorrow to talk about what he saw. He's very, very familiar with Antifa and all these Marxist militant groups, and he did see. He will.
All right, let's back this up again. So this individual seems to be the source of her information. I didn't get far enough back. See here.
Articles about it too, but not in the mainstream.
No.
And I don't think the FBI is saying that. I think the article that came out yesterday that said that there's evidence now that this was pre-planned. When you get down in the weeds of it, it talks about oath keepers and primarily oath keepers and some of these other groups. The point of that article was that they have correspondence between them. They were planning to go to the Capitol, and their language is questionable. It's not saying we're going to kill anyone. It's more like the language of the patriots, that the patriots of the revolution who wanted to take back their government, but it's being construed. I don't know much about oath keepers, so I can't declaratively say anything about who they are, what they were trying to do, but those are the ones that were singled out in that article. But my information on Antifa and Black Lives Matter comes from other sources. In fact, I have actually Mike Waller, who's formerly with the CIA, was there.
It doesn't sound like she's saying Mike Wallard. Does it not sound like she's saying Mike Wallard? I am not finding. Sounds like she's saying Mike Wallard. Okay, let me do this again. Mike Wallard. Wallard would be WALLARD. CIA. And that's not bringing anything up. I am not finding. I'm not finding anything. If you can find it, and if you're listening to me live, please, by all means, hop into the chat right there using the Spreaker app and let me know. I don't know I don't know who this person is. Supposedly a part of the CIA. You think his name would come up quickly. She could spell it for us. She's going to have him on his program. We're going to have to find her program and see when, I guess he's the source of all of this. He's supposedly the expert on Antifa and Black Lives Matter. And so I guess he's going to tell you that's who these people were. So we got to figure out who this guy is. All right. This is the smoking gun. He's the guy. All right. He's the guy. Now, again, you would think that when these people are arrested, I don't need a guy. I just go, who's this person? And then 5 minutes looking on their social media account is going to show me if these people are connected to Black Lives Matter or Antifa. But if I see Trump, QAnon, Bible verse, I'm probably going to be going, I think that person probably was a Trump supporter. At least in the two individuals that my daughter turned into the FBI. Yeah, they clearly were Trump supporters. Yeah. Who invaded the Capitol building? Because they thought the election was stolen and they were doing their due diligence. They were saving the country. We weren't saving the country for anything. We didn't vote for Trump. Plenty of us did not vote or didn't vote for Trump. I know that's shocking, but there are plenty of people who didn't, right? Oh, I don't know. Maybe a majority? All right, here we go. All right, let's see. Mike Wallard, he's the one, whoever this person is. He's the one. Now, if she gives the name of the article that he wrote, then I will look it up. But again, they're making the claim. They've got the burden of proof. They're making the claim. Let's see if they're going to be able to prove it here. Here we go.
and observing the whole thing. And he wrote a very long article on it before any news came out about it. He wanted to write it down fresh while nothing else was influencing his mind. And he's got about 5 or 6 pages written, and he's going to join me tomorrow to talk about what he saw. He's very, very familiar with Antifa and all these Marxist militant groups, and he will say to you when people listen tomorrow that's exactly what he picked up with what he saw.
Sandy, I think.
So that's what he picked up with what he saw. He picked up that they were Black Lives Matter, or that he just picked up that they were using similar tactics? What? Okay. So does Antifa have tactics that no one else could use? No one else involved in a riot uses the same tactics? Like Antifa is like, no. I'm sorry, Trump supporters. We have these tactics copyrighted, and that's a copyright violation. Hey, Trump supporters, as Black Lives Matter, that's how we do things when we riot. You're not allowed to use them, right? Or are these just general tactics that are typically used by people protesting, rioting, I don't know, trying to invade a building? Are the tactics pretty similar used by anyone engaged in this kind of activity? Do they have to really be taught? Do they really have to be organized? Hey, that's the building we're getting in. Those are the people stopping it. Break down the barriers. Throw everything we have at them people. Overwhelm them by having more numbers than they have, and then break into the building. Do you really need a long strategy session? I mean, really? Hey guys, we're going to really map this out. Okay, now look. Now we're Trump supporters. So what we'll do, maybe we could go with this conspiracy theory. Follow me. We're Trump supporters, but see, we don't want Trump to get blamed for this. So here's what we're going to do. In fact, if you think Trump supporters were smart enough, they would have came in carrying Black Lives Matter flags, and they would have came in wearing Antifa gear, wearing the black with the black face mask, and then they could have came in not wearing Trump hats. They could have came in, and then they could have blamed it on Antifa and blamed it on Black Lives Matter. They could have said that hey, all we want to do is stop this counting that's taking place. Let's go in dressed up like them and they'll get blamed. Was Trump supporters not smart enough, or was no, they're not diabolical enough? So it was Black Lives Matter who they wanted to stop the electoral process so that Trump supporters would be blamed. Right. I have a hard time trying to follow up this, but so this individual, now again, this individual supposedly is the person. Now she doesn't name the article. She doesn't even spell the name so that we can look him up. Clearly they don't say that they're going to post the information on the American Family website, so we can't even verify it. Now I'll have to find her program. And again, she's called in to talk about it now, so why not give me the information now? But all she said is that he will testify that he saw, and if you listen to everything that they just talked about, I guess that he's going to testify that he saw them acting in a similar manner. Well, what does that prove? The individuals arrested, you can go look into their past and find out if they were had anything to do with Antifa, Black Lives Matter. Those who do, then okay. Say that individual was connected with these groups, and so these groups could be called into question. But then do you have any proof that these groups organized? Did Black Lives Matter organization call for people to go to the Capitol building on January the 6th? That should be easy to prove. She just acknowledged that the previous article that she did not name had Oath Keepers. Now, she doesn't know anything about Oath Keepers, but Oath Keepers and these other groups, they were communicating. They were planning on going to the Capitol. So the previous comment seems to clearly show that the Trump supporting groups did plan to go. The best she has is someone who was supposedly there who can say that they were acting in a similar manner. So then how do you this is Christian radio. I mean, the home of logic and rational thought. Right? Let's continue.
One thing that's unfortunate amongst many is that the FBI, the DOJ, and many other agencies that are investigating this have been politicized for years. It's nothing new. Under the Obama administration, the FBI was used for political purposes. What's unfortunate, though, is that I don't think any of this will come out from.
Okay, now all the people investigating this, we can't trust them either. We can't trust them either, right? It's not going to come because they've been politicized. You see how you build the conspiracy theory? You see how this works? So you can't trust anybody. So who can you trust? You can trust American Family Radio, and you can trust Mike Wallard and some article that he wrote that we don't give you the name of. And there's dozens of articles we're not going to give you the name of, but we've got the evidence. You can't trust anybody else. So this is not going to come across in the mainstream media. It's never going to be released. So you're never going to find this information coming out, but you just believe that what is being reported is a lie. Yeah, and listen, what happened on January the 6th at the Capitol building is a result of this kind of thinking. That you just buy into whatever narrative some group gives you, and they tell you that you can't trust that group, you trust this group. So now you just trust the group that says what you want to hear. That's not rational, logical thinking. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, I'm trying to be patient here. Let's continue.
Those agencies, I know it's coming out through investigative reporting, but I think if these agencies come across this information we're talking about here, about how lefties basically infiltrated to a certain extent the January 6th event, I'm not sure that information will ever see the light of day.
So if they come across that lefties snuck in, lefties infiltrated, it's never going to see the light of day because they want to cover that up. They're covering up for the lefties. The lefties are being covered up by the FBI. The FBI wants to make sure that the lefties don't get blamed for it. Now, they're still arresting the people that they can find on any report. If you have any video of people breaking into the Capitol and you can identify who those individuals are, you can contact the FBI. But what they're doing is they're like, no. That was a lefty. I'm sorry, we can't do anything. No, we don't want to arrest any lefties because the FBI has never arrested any lefties. Ever. Not one time have they arrested lefties. They only go for righties. Not lefties, but righties. Yeah, that's the way it works. You know, when the FBI, if the FBI comes to my house, I'll say, hey, I'm a lefty. And they're like, we're sorry, sir. Go ahead, continue to build a bomb. Go ahead and continue to cook meth. Do whatever federal crime you're committing is perfect, as long as you're a lefty. Yeah, that's the way it works. That's the way it works. Yeah. Okay. American Family Radio, people. American Family Radio, the home of Christian thought. All right, here we go.
Oh, I think you're right, and I think probably the best word to describe it, Walker, yes, it's been politicized, but now the Justice Department and the FBI are being weaponized. Yeah. Just like the IRS was weaponized against people back, the Tea Party, when the Tea Party was in its heyday, before Obamacare was passed, really on Christmas Eve, pushed through without people even being able to read it. That's when that was like a novel idea that they wouldn't read a bill before they voted on it. Now it happens all the time. But weaponized to destroy people. It's just frightening. I read an article yesterday that I think I mentioned on the air, and Fred, you might have been referring to this one also, about all of the methods of surveillance this is the New York Times, that were being used against people on January 6th and are being used on them now, whether it's facial recognition. The phone companies have IDs for each of our phones, and even though they say you can put it on a setting where you're not tracked, it's a lie.
Okay, now remember, the claim was, hey, Black Lives Matter and Antifa. They're yet to give me any proof, no proof. But now we're against them surveilling people and using facial recognition and tracking your phone. I mean, that's horrible. Wait, after September the 11th, 2001, after the terrorist attacks, wasn't a lot of people who are Christians and people on the right who wanted all kinds of Patriot Act passed to give up lots of civil liberties because we were under attack by Islam? So, hey, if you're using surveillance against members of a mosque, hey, that's okay. If you're using surveillance and facial recognition against Muslims or people from the Middle East who come into the United States, that's okay. But how dare they do it at a Trump rally? How dare they do it? You either are against it, period, or you're for it, period. You can't pick and choose. But there were a lot of people on the right who were sure more than happy to go after, hey, ban this and do this and monitor this. And, hey, they shouldn't have to get a warrant to listen to people's phone calls because if they're possibly engaged in terrorist activities. No. Even if it targets people of a specific religion. We were all willing to throw away every right after the September the 11th attacks. And I remember going, whoa, we're getting rid of too many rights. Wait, this is dangerous. And I was like, how dare you? Don't you know Islam is trying to kill us? Oh, okay. So give up rights if it's Islam. But no. Now if it comes after Trump supporters, how dare you? You're persecuting us. How dare you? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you had no problem taking away the right. Remember when Christians were like, how dare they try to build a mosque, here in New York City or in Tennessee or wherever, the different stories that came out. We're not going to allow a mosque to be built because your religion is a religion of hate and you're dangerous. Oh, take away people's rights, freedom of religion. Yeah. But now, hey, Christians, you could be a dangerous group because of the invasion on the Capitol building. How dare you persecute us? You hate Jesus. Yeah, the hypocrisy of American Christians at times is insane. You got no problem taking away the rights of any other group. But when your rights get taken away, you whine and you cry and you bellyache with some heightened persecution complex. Now, when real persecution happens, by all means. When our rights are really under attack, then by all means. I like claiming that COVID was a designed attack against Christianity when the federal government gave over $2 billion in money to religious organizations so that they could maintain their staff and not have to lose anyone or fire anyone. Yeah, such horrible persecution. Man, Christians we can't even get the facts straight. All right, but let's continue.
And so they're tracking the hundreds and hundreds of people that were there. They're tracking them. Yeah. And they've been they've been to several places. They tracked their travel. They tracked where they stopped for gas, where they went to eat, where they stayed. It's frightening. Yeah. It really is frightening.
Yeah.
It's frightening. It's frightening. Oh, now what happened at the Capitol building? I guess that wasn't frightening. No. People died. I guess that wasn't frightening. No, it's frightening. It's frightening. Well, I would love to hear what these people were saying after September the 11th, 2001, when it comes to monitoring and surveilling people of Islamic faith, because, Muslims are all dangerous and they're all going to kill us. Now, do I agree with Islam? Absolutely not. Do I believe it's a false religion? Absolutely. Do I think it should be condemned theologically? Absolutely. Do I think there were people, part of Islam who were dangerous? Absolutely. Do I think there were people at the Capitol building who were definitely not Muslim, who were dangerous? Absolutely. All right, let's continue.
It's the Bank of America story, which we dealt with yesterday, handing over information of people who were in D.C. on the 5th and 6th of January. As Tucker Carlson said, if they bought a muffin with their Bank of America credit card,
yes,
they're being contacted.
That's right.
And the New York Times, as you mentioned, they received this cell phone tracking information, and they actually talked to a guy who lived in Kentucky who just happened to be, I think he attended the speech. He didn't go up to Capitol Hill, but he gets a call from the New York Times saying, we have information that you were there. And they used his cell phone, and a lot of people just aren't aware of this. Your cell phone is an instrument being used by others.
Yes, and by the phone companies, happily. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I heard from this morning, I had people call this morning that...
Now, please note, remember the original claim? Antifa and Black Lives Matter. That was the claim. Now they didn't even try to support that. They didn't even try to back it up. They didn't even try to prove it. They made an accusation. They didn't back it up. That's not what Christian radio does. If you're going to make an accusation, back it up with facts, or you're guilty of bearing false witness. You're liars. You're liars. And I'm sick and tired of it happening in the name of Christ. American Family Radio, you need to repent of it and start acting like a Christian radio station. Again, I don't care what the world does. I'm going to get 900 emails, but what about this? And CNN did this, and MSNBC, and I don't hold them to Christian standards. I hold Christian radio stations to Christian standards. That's what we do. We hold ourselves to Christian standards. And when we fall short, which we all will, then we repent, we acknowledge it, and we try to hopefully restore someone to get back. I want American Family Radio to be restored back to a Christian radio station that people can trust and that they can preach and teach the gospel so that they can disciple people and see people come to faith in Jesus Christ. That's what I want. They have radio stations all across the country. They have a major internet presence. They have a big website where all of their programs are available. They have an app. Get back to using it for something good. But now, where's the smoking gun? Where's the smoking gun? You made an accusation against two groups, Antifa and Black Lives Matter. You did not prove it. You did not back it up.
Were there. Plus, in my inbox, I had people telling me amazing things that they had seen while they were there. One of them was a woman who, now, every story is slightly different, but somehow they are all fitting together. One person had said that she thought it was a firecracker, came from the balcony, and that's when she said, something's really wrong about this. This is before any violence had started from her perspective. Another woman who wrote to me said that something came over. She thought it was a flare. I'm not sure what she called it, but some fire, not fire, but something short of that, and hit her in the leg, tore off the bottom of her pants, and did damage to her hose and her leg, not permanent, but damage. And the FBI just visited her home. And she was smart enough to get an attorney, brought him in, and they accused her of being there that day and said the people had said to her something like, had accused her of saying, this is not the exact words, but the spirit of it is correct. Let's go get them. Get in there. Let's go get them, or something like that. And the person telling it says that we just laughed. I'm a grandmother. I'm not there yelling, let's go get them. I mean, it's laughable. And the agent actually backed down. But that's what's happening to people.
Sandy, we've got the impeachment hearings.
That's what's happening to people because there was okay, I don't know, lady. Okay, I don't know what your problem is, but there was people broke into the Capitol building. They were threatening to kill people, and people died. I don't know what their problem is. They're investigating a crime. So, hey, if it's Trump supporters, don't you dare investigate. Don't you dare track people down. Don't you dare. Now, hey, if it's the people of Antifa and Black Lives Matter, then, hey, we got to investigate, we got to do surveillance, and we got to go get them. What kind of partisan garbage is this? And what do those stories even prove? Some woman, not going to name, she was there making this claim, can't verify it. But hey, we can just make an accusation. This is what is happening on Christian radio. Look, I'm not a trained, qualified broadcast expert. Okay, I don't make any claim like that. I'm a person with a microphone. That's it. That's what I am. And I do my best to try to maintain, trying to find the truth, speak the truth. Obviously, I try to use this microphone to do more Bible teaching than anything else. But this kind of nonsense cannot be tolerated within Christianity anymore. This is not Christian radio. American Family Radio. Stop claiming to be a Christian ministry. You're not a Christian ministry. You are a political. I'm assuming they're tax exempt. They should lose their tax exempt status. They should lose it. They should just move over to talk radio and just stop claiming to be a Christian ministry. Just be the political hacks that you are. The political partisans that you are. You are pro-Trump, pro-Republican, and just go be a radio network that does that. Just be another talk radio network. But you claim to be a ministry wanting tax-exempt donations to support your ministry. Go compete in the free market. Sell advertising and go out there and do it. Stop claiming to be a Christian radio station, and then I don't care what you do. Well, I don't even know what else there is to listen to because clearly they're not going to go back and prove their point. Well, we'll listen to a little bit more just where nobody will say, you took it out of context. You took it out of context. You took it out of context.
Cranking up today, constitutional issues today, and then tomorrow we're going to get into what happened on January the 6th. Obviously, what you're talking about is going to be central. Do you expect the president's lawyers to make the argument tomorrow? I suppose they've got to make it. Will they be permitted to make the argument to bring evidence out before the Senate that there were leftist elements, Antifa and Black Lives Matter and other troublemakers who really were behind this? Is that going to be a big part of their argument tomorrow?
Okay, they were really behind it. Now, they haven't even proved it, but the Trump lawyers, now, if you watch how the Trump lawyers conducted themselves yesterday, it was an absolute embarrassment. Even Trump is upset about it, but hey, we could get into a whole story that you kind of put yourself in this situation because, well, all your attorneys kind of walked away from you. But okay, so they weren't very happy. Yesterday it was about trying to make, this is not even constitutional. Well, they lost that and the Senate voted and now the impeachment. We'll see. Hey, these were not Trump supporters. These were Antifa. Are they going to make that case? They're going to. Now, again, they're stating it like it's a dogmatic fact. They haven't even proved that it's a dogmatic fact yet, but they're speaking of it like, hey, the Trump lawyers have to do this, just like the Trump lawyers were going to prove the election was stolen. Yeah, that didn't work out so good. But then even Republican judges, they're a part of the conspiracy. So even if they present this information, and if the information is roundly rejected or proven to be false, well, then they'll claim that the people who reject it are a part of the conspiracy. There's no way to ever prove these people wrong because the conspiracy thinking never stops. And conspiracy thinking infiltrating Christianity, that is the stinking problem. I'm so sick of this nonsense. All right, I'm going to hear what she's going to say because she's probably going to go, well, no, they'll never allow them to say that because remember, this is top secret information and the only place you're going to hear this is American Family Radio and on my program that airs Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. or whatever time her program comes on. All right, here we go.
And do you think they're even going to be allowed to say that?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I can't say, but I would say that I would suspect that it would be. And I think you can take it to the bank that they will try to stop it. No question about it. Yes, I think that they will probably do something like that. One of the persons that has broken through to mainstream media but has gotten hardly any coverage. It'd be interesting to know if you guys have heard of John Sullivan. I bet you have, Fred. Mm-hmm. He's a Black Lives Matter activist, an Antifa activist, and he was front and center that day.
All right, John Sullivan. Now, I have heard that name. John Sullivan. Let's go here. John Sullivan. John Sullivan. All right. Accused left-wing Capitol activist John Sullivan facing new charges. Okay. All right, here we go. All right. Utah activist John Sullivan, who stormed U.S. Capitol, faces additional charges. So this is mainstream media acknowledging that he stormed the Capitol. All right. So here we go. This may be their best that they have. Utah activist John Sullivan is now facing 3 additional charges for his alleged involvement in the deadly U.S. Capitol riots in January. According to charging documents, the 3 additional charges include disorderly and disruptive conduct in a restricted building or grounds, disorderly conduct in a Capitol building, and parading, demonstrating, or picketing in a Capitol building. All right? This brings the number of charges for his involvement in the riots from 3 to 6. According to Sullivan's website, Sullivan was in the U.S. Capitol early in January when rioters violently entered into the building. A video at the top of his website shows rioters smashing glass on a set of doors that had been barricaded. As a self-proclaimed video journalist, Sullivan has numerous videos also posted on his Twitter of the violence in the Capitol. Sullivan tweeted in late December with travel plans for the MAGA Calvary. He was arrested in June in connection to riots in Provo and charged with third-degree felony riot and criminal mischief in July. Officials say Sullivan was charged with rioting and criminal mischief for Provo riots. Federal investigators say that they obtained a video posted on YouTube of Sullivan allegedly seen in the crowd telling those around him over a microphone, "We got to rip Trump out of office and we ain't waiting until the next election." It was also seen wearing a ballistic vest and gas mask. Trump urges no violence, no law breaking in response to reports of more demonstrations. According to the criminal complaint, Sullivan told investigators he's an activist and a journalist that filmed protests and riots, but admitted he did not have any press credentials. So he is being held responsible. He is being charged. So there's no grand conspiracy to cover it up. There's no grand conspiracy. Now, what he was doing in the Capitol building doesn't matter. He was there. He didn't have press credentials, and so he's being charged. That's right. That's justice. Does that mean Black Lives Matter was involved? That means this individual was involved. So you still haven't proven anything, but yeah, this individual, and let me know, he is being charged. So there's no grand conspiracy to cover it up. It wasn't like the FBI. The FBI is not going to do anything if you're a lefty. This person's being charged. He's going to go to court. So where's the cover up? All right, let's continue.
He was filming. He was right there when the woman whose name escapes me was killed by the Capitol policeman. Isn't it amazing that we can't think of her name? Yeah. Say her name. We should be saying her name, I think. And to mimic our leftist non-friends. But John Sullivan was right there. He was arrested and released. The Justice Department didn't even put him in any kind of confinement. And yet he's on tape asking.
They didn't put him in any kind of confinement. There's a woman here in Texas who was involved in the Capitol thing. She posted it all over social media, a Trump supporter who, guess what, was just allowed to go to Mexico on vacation, and she's waiting. So don't give me this garbage that he was released. A lot of the people who've been arrested in this have been released waiting trial. So what are you talking? Oh, can you even believe that he wasn't? Look, if you're going to say that he should be locked up and not wait until trial, then every person arrested should be locked up and not released. But they've released all kinds of people. They just let the woman in Texas go to Mexico. My daughter was talking about it last night. Like, can you believe that? Well, I'm like, yeah, I can believe it because they're charging the people, then releasing them to wait trial. That's what they're doing. Okay. Now, whether if you think it's wrong for her, then you got to think then it's wrong to do that for every person who was arrested. It can't be, just selective outrage.
For revolution, not that day, but in days preceding. He's all over the map. We see him. He's a radical leftist who loves Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and he's one of the ones that was right there front and center arrested. I also got information yesterday from a national security expert, facial recognition of a Ukrainian who was there.
Wait, I thought we were against facial recognition. But now facial recognition is good because, hey, it's a Ukrainian. It's a Ukrainian. A Ukrainian was there. A Ukrainian was there. A Ukrainian was there. Oh. That means it wasn't Trump supporters. It was a Ukrainian. And facial recognition. Wait, I thought facial recognition was bad. I thought she was against facial recognition. But I guess facial recognition is good if it can possibly identify someone who's not a Trump supporter. But if it's facial recognition identifying Trump supporters, it's bad. I'm having a hard time following Christian radio logic.
Filming. And she talked about Ukrainian media. She actually put examples of what they were saying immediately, how they were they said Russians were there causing it. So there was a lot of things going on.
Oh, so now it's Russians. It wasn't Black Lives Matter. It wasn't Antifa. It was Russians. Russians were doing it. Russians were doing it. Did you know it was Russians? Next thing you know, we're going to find out it was really the aliens broke out of Area 51 and they moved to Washington because they wanted all the files inside the Capitol building to be released, showing that Area 51 is actually a concentration camp for aliens from the planet XYZZZZ3, and they want to be freed, and so they were trying to break in, and they disguised themselves as Trump protesters. I mean, just make up anything you want. Just make up anything you want, okay? Because that's what Christian radio does. Let's just throw everything at it. It was everyone but Trump supporters. It was the Russians. It was the Ukrainians. It was the Black Lives Matter. It was Antifa. It was aliens from the planet XXYY33221 who are kept as prisoners at Area 51. Just throw it. It was the Illuminati. It was reptilians. Throw anything. But it could not be Trump supporters. For crying out loud, the job of Christian radio is to support Trump supporters. That's what we are called to do. No matter what other false accusations we make against anyone and everyone we can think of.
That day, the people that called in today, listeners had incredible stories to tell. I hope that everyone will go back and listen to the show this morning for all the reasons we know.
Well, and part of what's infuriating about this is that, to Walker's point, you're probably not going to see a lot of this kind of evidence come out in the mainstream media.
The story about Sullivan that I read to you, that was from ABC News. I don't know how much more mainstream you can get than ABC News. But hey, what do I know? What do I know? I just know how to Google things. I mean, what do I know? I'm an idiot, okay? I'm a moron. I'm not on Christian radio. Because if I was on, I was on Christian radio, and I got kicked off Christian radio. You can see why. Right? So you won't see this on mainstream news. You won't see it. Well, we just found it on ABC News where they report the arrest and additional charges to John Sullivan. Yeah, it was really covered up. It was really hard. It took me 3 seconds of searching. It was like I had to go in the dark web to find it.
So it comes out in alternative media, and because of that, people in the mainstream media call it all conspiracy theories because it's not hitting the mainstream media; it's being ignored. And I just want to make it clear on our behalf, we are not approving of what happened on January 6th when there were people on the political right, however you want to define that, causing problems and breaking into the Capitol. No one's approving of that, but I think what we're saying is it is increasingly apparent that it was a mixed crowd, and people on the left have infiltrated that, and people on the left were also involved in the attack on the Capitol. And here's why it's important that information get out, because
if it's important to get that information out, then get the information out, American Family Radio. Post it on your website. Give me the links. Give me the articles. Give me the videos. Give me the facial recognition information that shows that they were Russians, Ukrainians, or wherever. Give me the information, American Family Radio. Post it on there. Make your claims. And if you get found out that you're making lies and false accusations, then I hope you get sued into oblivion.
Happened on January 6th is becoming like 9/11 for the left. They are claiming this is a 9/11 and calling for deprogramming. Some of them are calling for Christians, for their kids to be taken away. This is being used as an event again.
All right, if they're calling for kids to be taken away from their Christian parents, please send me that article. Please post the article on American. Again, they're just going from claim after claim after claim after claim after claim after claim. It's their 9/11. Well, look how Christians acted after 9/11 when it come to Islam. So are you now condemning how many Christians acted after 9/11? Are you? Oh, of course not. Of course not. Just, we can't have the left do that. Yeah. Now they're focusing on Christians. They're focusing on, oh no, what are we going to do? How about we condemn what happened and condemn Christian nationalism and condemn the political hijacking of the Christian church? How about we go back to being churches instead of political entities that are somehow tax exempt?
Against conservatives and or Christians, and they are saying, I was reading an article this morning from a Christian talking about the authoritarian evangelical community. And they're tossing all of us into the QAnon salad with everybody who was there on January 6th. And what I think we're trying to say is you can't blame us for all of this, Sandy, but they're going to try.
I think that for the most part, those of us that have been to Trump rallies, and I've been to several of them, and there are millions of other people that have been too. Nothing like this has ever taken place. This is not characteristic of anything that happens at those rallies. People clean up; they're happy. It's a very happy place. And people that called in this morning talked about that was the case on the mall when they were listening to President Trump. The one woman that is a listener who contacted me said that she sent me sketches. There was one woman in particular with a bullhorn who had long blonde hair, was overweight. That's the description of her. And this person who was listening, we called her Nancy, said that she and her friends were some of the first at the Capitol because they got really cold and they were so far back in the Trump crowd that they couldn't hear very well. So they decided to just walk over there. So they were there early on. And this very large woman with a bullhorn was screaming obscenity. I can't repeat. Get your blanking blanks over here. Closer is what she was shouting. And
she provided a sketch. I guess that woman at the Trump rally didn't have a phone, didn't take a picture, didn't take video. No. Got a sketch, though. Got a sketch. Just make a claim. Just make a claim. All right, well, your claims are good. Your claims are good. You remember how sometimes Christians will talk about, well, when people make accusations, they need proof. We need proof. Hey, if you make accusations against a Supreme Court justice, you better have proof. You better hey, if you make accusations against kids who were being accused of the things that happened in Washington. Remember was it the kids from I can't remember the name of the high school who were wearing the Make America Great hat again, and then the media went crazy on them, and then more and more evidence came out and said, well, this is not exactly the way it occurred. Remember what Christians said? Hey, you can't just accuse people of things. You got to have proof. You got to have proof. You got to have proof. Well, if someone calls into your show and says there was a fat woman with blonde hair with a bullhorn saying, get over here, and screaming obscenities. Okay, great. Thank you for calling. Do you have any proof? Do you have video? Who is this woman? Can we identify her? Has she been identified on any video? Would you support them using facial recognition to identify her? Or are you against that? What if they use facial recognition and we find out that she's a Trump supporter? What then? But we have a sketch. See, just hearsay. Just hearsay. So Christian radio is now the place where we throw out rumor, innuendo, accusation. Who cares about facts?
There was other people encouraging them to climb. Open here. Come on this side. And she said it was definitely not any. She's been to several Trump rallies. It was like no one she had ever seen before. People don't talk like that or act like that. She said they were a very big departure from the normal Trump supporter. And not whatever, So
it's different from the normal Trump supporter. Yeah. So okay. So this is this is what they have. This is what they're giving us. This is their great evidence to prove their point. Hey, they didn't act like normal Trump supporters. Not the Trump supporters I know. Well, the Trump supporters that my daughter knew on social media, they broke into the Capitol building, bragged about it on social media, and got reported to the FBI. They were Trump supporters. So for your circumstantial evidence that they weren't Trump supporters, I can throw out circumstantial evidence of Trump supporters that we turned into the FBI because they were. so I oh man, this is just so boy. All right, here we go.
Another person said to me, and this is a friend of mine who's a national security expert. She was there, and she said that people were saying, "Come on in. They're offering us a free tour." They were telling people that the Capitol was open for a tour, and some other people told me, and you probably saw.
What? Hey, it's open for a free tour. Yeah, those barricades that you've seen. What is happening? I'm listening to this. There were barricades with cops. You pushed the barricades over and beat the cops down. You took flags and smashed glass to break into the building. Hey, it's a free tour. Just ignore the cop laying on the ground bleeding. Ignore that. It's a free tour. And what? Okay. So in other words, the people who entered in the Capitol building, they just didn't understand. They just thought it was a free tour. They thought, hey, it's a free tour. Oh, it's a free tour. I cannot wait to get into the Capitol building. Yeah, this line seems a little rowdy. Okay, well, hey, officer, why are you laying on the ground bleeding? I don't know. I'll step over you because it's a free tour. Like, what are you? So in other words, hey, all the Trump supporters, they thought it was a free tour. They just thought it was a free tour. They completely misunderstood. They just completely misunderstood what was happening. So I guess what I'll do is I'll go into Walmart and say, and steal like 30 things. I'll say, hey, someone outside said that, hey, they're giving away things for free. They're giving away things for free. And I just thought, is this where Christianity is going? Is this...
Pictures. There are lots of entrances to the Capitol.
Right.
At some entrances, the police were holding the doors open, letting people in. People were wandering through, a statuary hall and taking pictures and waving their flags. So the media is painting a very dangerous picture of painting, as you said, the whole lot of everyone who was at that rally listening to President Trump with this dangerous element, and some of them may have been Trump supporters. I don't know. But for them,
I don't know if there were Trump supporters. I just don't know. I just don't know. And if there were Trump supporters, they were the ones who went into the doors that was being held open by the police officers. Please give me the name of the police officers that were holding open the door. Please give me the video of the police officers that were holding open the door. Please send it to me at newsif@yahoo.com, because I will get that to the FBI so fast. I will drive to an FBI office and say, please, here is the video. Here is a police officer that held the door open during the riot at the Capitol building. I want this cop arrested. I want charges pressed against him because he helped. He was assisting the riot on the Capitol building. I want that person identified. Please, let's identify the police officer that was holding open the door. Let's do that. Let's get it to the FBI today. Today. Let's do that. Come on, American Family Radio. If you've got the information, get it to the FBI. In fact, I'm going to contact the FBI, and I'm going to tell them that American Family Radio has evidence that police officers were holding open the doors for the people trying to get into the Capitol building. Because the FBI may want to contact American Family Radio. I think that would be my civic duty. American Family Radio, hopefully you'll get a phone call from the FBI. Because, you're the bastion of truth, right? I don't know if there were Trump supporters. I don't have a clue. There was nothing there to even indicate there were Trump supporters. Nothing at all. No, not a thing. Not a thing. There was nothing to identify them as Trump supporters.
I think based on their behavior and their dress, they were likely not. But nobody.
Based on their behavior and dress, they were likely not. They were likely not Trump supporters. Likely not. According to American Family Radio, they were likely not Trump supporters. Yeah.
He's looking into that. So.
Well, I think it's because the narrative that is being developed, including the impeachment, this sham of the impeachment and now the trial in the Senate, is all about blaming President Trump and his supporters for what they're calling the insurrection on January 6th, the attack on the Capitol, the worst possible framing of what happened, and some of it was very bad. That's why I want to make sure people understand.
Some of it was very bad. I don't want you to think that we're for it, but it was bad. It was kind of bad. Some people died. We're pro-life. Now remember, we're pro-life here at American Family Radio, and we hate abortion. But it was kind of bad. What are you doing? But it was evil. But it was a threat to our very democratic process, based off lies that American Family Radio helped spread.
You go into the Speaker of the House's office and put your feet, sit in her chair and put your feet up, carrying off podiums, all those kind of things. Those are bad, folks. And by the way, I had a friend who texted, and Ashley Babbitt was the woman who was killed at the Capitol.
Yes.
So and a Capitol Hill police officer lost his life. So bad things happen. But the left, including the media, who shill regularly for the left, they are wanting to use this as an opportunity to try to destroy Trump populism, evangelical Christianity, the one of the strongest elements of the Trump base, and the conservative movement in this country. And that's what I think this impeachment sham is all about. It's all about continuing that narrative. I'll give you the last word, Sandy, and then we'll let you get back to your day.
Well, one thing I would just think we have to keep repeating. They say 5 people were killed. 5 people died. 3 of those people were Trump supporters. One was Ashley Babbitt, who was shot by Capitol Police. Another person had a stroke. Another person had a heart attack. And the policeman that was hit and then died, we don't have a cause of death for him. I'm who's happy about that? But I'm just saying there's no definitive. It's almost like I had read that he had another medical problem, but I don't know. But we don't have a definite report on what caused his death, and yet eagerly they say 5 people died on that day. So I want people to have perspective. Another policeman committed suicide afterwards. So we don't know whether that was related or not. But that's how it's being spun. It reminds me of the COVID death count, Person has a motorcycle accident, their autopsy shows they had COVID, so they died from COVID. So we have to be careful.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's do just a search really quick. Man, I'm so sick of Christians not knowing how comorbidity works, but okay. All right. Did a person die of a motorcycle accident? Did a person die of a motorcycle accident and was counted a COVID death? All right, here we go. All right, man who died in a motorcycle crash counted as COVID death in Florida. Report. This is from July of 2020. A man who died in a motorcycle crash was counted as a COVID death in Florida, according to a new report from Fox 35 Orlando. According to the report, Orange County Health Officer Dr. Paul Pino was asked whether two coronavirus victims in their 20s had any underlying medical conditions that could have potentially made them more susceptible to the virus. Pino's answer was that one of the two people that was listed as a COVID death actually died in a motorcycle crash, despite health officials knowing the man died in a motorcycle crash. It is unclear whether or not his death was removed from the overall count in the state. Dr. Pino tells Fox 35 that one could actually argue that it could have been COVID that caused him to crash. Other discrepancies in Florida's coronavirus case numbers came into question. So it appears that someone was listed. We don't know if he was listed in the overall count. All right, let me see here. I'm doing some more looking. Okay, here we go. We got some more information here. Okay. All right. A case that was initially tallied among coronavirus deaths in 2020 caused some confusion. Here's the report. All right. A motorcycle crash in Florida was listed as a COVID death. All right. Here we go. I'm continuing through this article. Give me 1 second. In late July 2020, people began inquiring about news reports that a person killed in a motorcycle crash had been listed as a COVID death. Florida was among states experiencing a surge in COVID deaths amid the ongoing pandemic, but political leaders, including U.S. President Donald Trump and Trump supporters, such as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, was criticized for downplaying the virus. During the press conference, DeSantis, and I think I'm saying his name right, pointed to the crash of a motorcyclist, saying, "The other thing I've asked the Department of Health to look at is there was a case here in Central Florida where somebody, I think they were in their 20s, and they were in a motorcycle accident, and that was counted as a coronavirus death. And a lot of people are like, hey, how is that possible? You get hit by a car, and then you're attributing it to coronavirus? So I want them to go back and look. I think though, the reason that that's the case is because what Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has said is anybody that tests positive, if they then die, their death they get listed as a part of the death count. All right. Contrary to what DeSantis stated, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC guidelines, doesn't direct caregivers to list all deaths as COVID deaths simply because the disease was detected in the decedent. Instead, it instructs caregivers to list various factors in contributing to death and appropriate sections of death certificates. In other words, it does not state that anyone who suffers an unnatural death, such as a traffic accident, should be listed as COVID-19 caused death if they also happen to test positive, even if the disease didn't cause their death, right? So there's no policy to do that, even though people make that claim. It does appear to the case, however, that the motorcyclist who was killed in a traffic accident also tested positive for COVID-19 and was initially listed among Florida's COVID deaths. But officials from the Florida Department of Health said that person has since been removed from the count. The story about the motorcyclist was initially reported by an Orlando-based television news station, which learned the information in a phone conversation with Orange County health officials, Officer Dr. Raul Pino, and the July 17th article it was reported, and that's the original article that I reported. They updated the story 2 days later. Now, that same news site updated the story 2 days later to indicate that the motorcyclist's death had been removed from the death tally. All right? So it was removed from the death tally. That's a fact. It was removed. Did Christian Radio just give that information? No. Was it initially reported? Yes. Is that a problem? Yes. Was it exposed? Yes. Was it corrected? Yes. Was there any guidelines from the CDC to do this? No. Do mistakes happen? Yes. When mistakes are found, should they be exposed? Yes. I don't care where they are. Can Christian Radio do a Google search? Do they not have internet where Christian Radio exists? We just did that on the air. And that's what you have to do with Christian Radio. Oh, they made this claim. Look it up. They made this claim. Now, to be fair, you got to do that with everything you hear. All right, let's continue.
And be accurate. And we have to be accurate too, Ed, which I appreciate what you did. Talked about the specific things that were just wrong, that we cannot endorse if our people, meaning Trump supporters, did that.
Our people. Trump supporters are not my people. Christians are my people. I am a Christian. I'm not a Trump supporter. I am a Christian. The body of Christ. Brothers and sisters in the Lord. Not my people. Christian Radio, what is wrong with you? Talk like a Christian radio station, for crying out loud. Our people, meaning Trump supporters. Well, you don't speak for all Christians. All right? Some Christians are Trump supporters. Some Christians are not Trump supporters. Some Christians voted for Trump. Some Christians did not. And don't send me an email going, that's not true. No Christian would not vote for President Trump. Christianity is determined not by who you vote for. Christianity is determined by you putting your faith in Jesus Christ and trusting in his substitutionary sacrifice for your salvation. Not on who you vote for. Our people are Trump supporters. Non-Trump supporters are not our people. So I guess I'm not a part of the people of American Family Radio because I didn't vote for Trump. Oh boy, I'm not part of their people. Do you not see how this is political language?
So, but this is a dangerous time. And we are going to be, they've tried to destroy Donald Trump not because of they don't like his tweets, but because he represents Judeo-Christian values. He has, I think I said last.
President Trump represents Judeo-Christian values? You know why? You know why President Trump represents Judeo-Christian values? Because Judeo-Christian values now are political points. Doesn't matter about morality, just political points. So now Judeo-Christianity is not defined by morality, not about holiness, not about godliness, not about speaking truth and not telling lies, not about the way you speak to people, not about loving your enemy. None of that is Judeo-Christian ethics. Judeo-Christian ethics is what political policies do you support? That's Christian ethics in American Christianity. That is one of the most shocking things that I've heard in a long time.
Last time I joined you, he's an unrighteous man who has stood for righteousness. And he's
an unrighteous man. Okay, that's good. At least they identified that. He's an unrighteous man who stood for righteous causes. So if he stands for righteous causes, then he represents Judeo-Christian ethic. But Judeo-Christian ethic has to go beyond political policy.
Also has stood for this country and its values, which are Judeo-Christian, and its history. And he must be destroyed because the left can't stand that. They must wipe out culture. Anything that gives people a basis of identity, including football, by the way, anything that makes them feel cohesive and culturally connected has to be destroyed. That's how these leftist organizations come and take power, because there's nothing left but the state. Right. So that's what's happening. And now we must be destroyed, those of us that supported him. And this is what's happening before our very eyes.
That's right. All right, Sandy, let our listeners know again. Folks, by the way, that voice you hear is Sandy Rios with Sandy Rios in the Morning.
There you have it. More wonderful things in the world of American Christian radio. That's American Family Radio. You can look up their website. By all means, listen to them. Listen to them. I wouldn't tell you not to. Just, yeah. And again, let me make it very fair. American Family Radio, the issue with that network is Monday through Friday from about 10 a.m. to about 6 p.m. in the evening. Outside of that, it's usually more Christian focused and preaching and sometimes some decent stuff. But man, their politics is all over the place. It's a Republican talking point factory. And during the day, they don't represent Christ. They represent politics. And it's the political. I've said for people for years to listen to American Family Radio because it's the best example of the political hijacking of American Christianity. When people are like, I just don't see what you're talking about. Listen to American Family Radio. There it is. All right. And at some point, we're going to go back in history to a very important individual in American Christian history who kind of really started this politicizing of American Christianity, even before you get to the moral majority of Jerry Falwell. I've got the information. Again, it's on my iPad, but I will get to that as much as possible. This took a lot longer than I wanted, but it had to be talked about. Someone just said, yeah. Thank you. Colin just said, this stuff makes me laugh and feel sick at the same time. What a tragedy. I agree. It does make me laugh at times. I agree. At times it's just so, like, you can't believe that Christians would act and talk and just engage in just such broken logic. But then it's tragedy. It's a tragedy because it's in the church. And I got to say this for the people on YouTube because they never seem to understand what I'm doing. They don't seem to get what I'm trying to accomplish here. I'm dealing with what's going on in the church. This kind of talk and this kind of stuff. Here in a minute when I get in the car to go back home, I'll probably turn on, let's see, what time is it? I don't even know the time. Yeah, I'll probably turn on Rush Limbaugh to see if he's on. I'll probably listen to him, okay? Because right now, at 12 o'clock on American Family Radio, right now, they have this bishop that's on there that I cannot even, I lose my mind because of his political nonsense. And then at 1 o'clock, his focal point on American Family Radio, that almost causes me to have a seizure. Then at 2 o'clock, it's a husband and wife duo. They sometimes do some good things, but they're very political. So, I mean, I know the whole schedule for American Family Radio during the day. But look, if I turn on Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, Glenn Beck, any of the typical, Republican right-wing, radio talk show hosts, and they say a lot of crazy things, and I just kind of shake my head and go, "Oh man, that's messed up." Yeah, I don't agree with that. Or sometimes I'll say, "Oh wow, they made a very good point. I agree with that." Same time, if I listen to Rachel Maddow, sometimes I'll listen to her at night, and I'll be like, "Oh wow, that's crazy." And sometimes that's a good point, but my expectation for all of that is radically different. But when I turn on Christian radio, Christian media, I expect the basic level of morality to be truth. Do not bear false witness. Do not make claims. If you're going to make a claim about something that happened with COVID and someone dying with a motorcycle accident, give the full report. 2 days later, it was reported that name had already been removed. Also, make sure you understand the CDC never gave such guidelines, and please understand how a death certificate works with comorbidity. If you're going to go into that topic, represent it correctly. As someone who's filled out plenty of death certificates in my time in the medical world, filling out death certificates, I know here's the main cause, here's comorbidity. These are other things that possibly contributed to this person dying. There's other contributing causes to the death. Here's the primary cause. Here's the comorbidities, other things that contributed to the cause. It's not rocket scientists. It's a death certificate. Okay, it's pretty basic stuff. But hey, whatever narrative we've got to create, as Christians love to claim that the left is out there creating a false narrative, which by all means people create false narratives on the left, but the right creates false narratives. Christians create false narratives. I'm worried about Christians creating false narratives when we should be proclaiming the truth, speaking the truth, and defending the truth. When we get it wrong, we just say we got it wrong, and we repent and we fix it so that we do better. But this was a full-blown attempt to make a claim, and they never supported the claim. And they blamed people who are a part of Antifa and people who are part of Black Lives Matter as those groups being a part of it. And if you can't prove that, you bore false witness. And you can't bear false witness. I don't care what the group is. I don't care if it's the First Church of Satan. You don't bear false witness, because we're not to bear false witness against anyone, including our enemies. We speak the truth. It's that simple. We show love. Now, we condemn error. We condemn wrong. Absolutely. But this is the level of, again, this shows you the issue here shows the spiritual condition of American Christianity. That's what I want you to see here. I don't even want you to see the politics. This is about the spiritual condition of American Christianity, where something as straightforward and simple as speak truth, put away lying, don't bear false witness. That very basic, simple level of morality is being abandoned and thrown out. That is the issue. And if you miss that, then you missed everything I just spent 2 hours trying to do, when I really wanted this to be about 30 minutes long. But it's now been 2 hours long, and we will see. We will see what happens. We will see. I was speaking to some another media outlet today about some things about American Family Radio, and they wanted some information. I sent it to them. So we'll see. Look, if I have to expose them as promoting lies and frauds, then I'm going to expose them. I tried to email American Family Radio, and they will not respond to me. They ignore me like I'm a nobody, because I am a nobody. So I have to go to the somebodies to get American Family Radio's attention. Stop your lying. Stop your false claims. Stop your conspiracy theories that you throw out there that really can enrage people to go storm the Capitol building based off lies. That's what this whole thing is about, is lies that people bought into and believe. Listen to my broadcast from Sunday morning where the CEO, the founder of Smartmatic says, no, this is made up story. Our software was not used here, and now we're suing people for billions of dollars. Maybe American Family Radio needs a lawsuit to sue them out of oblivion, so that they'll try to maintain a standard of truth and honesty. That's not, again, a Christian radio station shouldn't need a lawsuit to threaten them about speaking the truth, because they have a thing called the Bible that they should, try to follow. But, ends justify the means, right? As long as our end is Trump and Republican politics, then by any means necessary. That's our cause now is not the Great Commission. Our cause is not salvation. Our cause is not discipleship. Our cause is not Scripture. Our cause is right-wing politics. And I'm telling you, what the American church needs more than ever is that every Republican needs to be voted out of office, so that the church has no place to look to. There's no political, all conservative politics needs to be so destroyed and burnt down, not in a literal way, but in a figurative way. In other words, losing all power and influence, so that the church has no political arm to lean on. They can't look anywhere for politics, and they'll stop looking to politics. They'll open their Bibles, get back into the Bibles, and we can all start trying to live out our lives as Christians. Imperfectly, we fall into sin, but then we pick each other back up and we try to follow Christ. That's what we need to get back to. But as long as we keep turning to this political nonsense, we're going to continue to compromise our Christian faith for our political values, because political value is now more important than Christian truth. That is where we are. Thank you to Colin for his comment. I greatly appreciate that. And now this gets posted on YouTube, and by the time I get home, who knows what I'm going to be called, but that's okay. All right, I got to go because my wife has no way to contact me, and I can't contact anybody else. I can't contact anybody else because I forgot my iPad, which really makes me mad because there's so many things we needed to do today. But there you have it. Everyone have a great day. God bless.